Packers get the win over the Chicago Bears, 20-19. Blocked field goal to save it. Second week in a row, we've seen that. So Packers get the win here. They move to 7-3. Bears fall to 4-6. Coming out of this, the 19-point scoring Bears actually have a little, some signs of life offensively, and the best game for Caleb Williams in quite a while after the offensive coordinator change to Thomas Brown.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. Give the Packers the credit, but in a minute. But let's start from a Bears perspective and Caleb Williams.
We'll get to you in a minute. This was an impressive performance from Caleb Williams. Again, it's one of those ones where maybe the box score isn't as good as the performance was overall, but it looked different. I mean, we were speculating, right? You throw Shane Waldron under the bus. Everyone rips him during the week. It's all his fault. It's the disaster. How quickly can you put this right? And if it doesn't immediately improve, that looks pretty bad. It did immediately improve. I mean, everything looked better this week.
He was using his legs a ton. Williams ended up with 9 carries for 70 yards.
Some of which were designed.
Some designed runs in there. When he scrambled, it felt right. I felt like he scrambled and was decisive. So I'm just looking at it from an evaluation perspective. I thought the offense looked a little bit cleaner. It's still not great, but it looked cleaner. I wrote down in my notes, it's a miracle. There's a second read coming into his vision. Like a simple 3rd and 2. Because I was saying it felt like so much of the offense was he's reading one side of the field, and if it's not there, he's got to work all the way to the other side of the field and figure out if it's there too. And there was no rhythm or fluidity to the offense. And a 3rd and 2 early on, he cancels the read front side, and then backside there's a crosser coming in, and he hits it for the first down. We hadn't seen much of that this year. I didn't see him crouching down in the fetal position with pressure, and he had some collapsing pockets. And even in collapsing pockets, Caleb Williams was making some throws. He had a beautiful big-time throw on a corner route early on. And then all of that said, we would be, if they had just hit this field goal, we'd be talking even more about the Bears and Caleb Williams, and they figured it out because he had a game-winning drive opportunity. Took 2 sacks early to get to 3rd and 18, which was not great. But the 3rd and 18, he hits Rome Odunze to make it 4th and 3, and then on 4th and 3, back shoulder to it was a back shoulder to Odunze. I don't know if that was to him on the 3rd and 18, but the back shoulder to Odunze was a beautiful throw, and he gets the Bears into position for the game-winning field goal. So I thought it was a much better game from Caleb Williams. I thought the offense looked more crisp. Again, they only put up officially 19 points, had the field goal opportunity to get to 22. That's not special, but you also had the awesome 39-yard touchdown run from DeAndre Swift, that pancake block by Braxton Jones out in front, which was outstanding. I mean, there's a lot of positives in the moral victory category if you're the Bears, but they still haven't beat the Packers since, middle of the last Trump administration, basically.
Somebody had a tweet, there's nobody on the roster that's beaten the Packers.
Wow.
They've 11 straight defeats now to Green Bay. There you go. It was the 33rd team had the tweet. Perfect.
That's us.
Yeah. We had the tweet collectively. Nobody on the team was beating Green Bay. That's nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's just a bunch of youngsters who don't know how to beat the Packers.
Nobody knows. Nobody there knows how to beat the Packers. That's their problem. That's why they can't win. That's why they can't win these games, because nobody on the roster knows how.
They never will.
Right.
How are you going to learn?
How are you going to learn if you haven't done it?
So I just wanted to start with that, the Caleb Williams discussion and the fact that things look better, something to build upon right there. And the offensive coordinator bump, at least for 1 week, seemingly worked.
Yeah.
But Packers, still a better team all around.
They are. I mean, I will say, where was the pass rush for Green Bay? One of the things that has been bad about Chicago is the offensive line, the protection, everything in that area. Green Bay put Caleb Williams under pressure on 5 dropbacks.
It felt like more than that again, though. Is that right?
But it really wasn't a big...
It felt like more than that. There were some...
I mean, that's a PFF number. NGS didn't have him under pressure a lot either.
I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying I went play-by-play on it, and there was a lot of clean pockets for Caleb Williams. There was a couple times he stepped up into pressure. He stepped into that sack on the game-winning drive. It was kind of on him, but Overall, I thought the Bears' pass protection was good. The Braxton Jones was back at left tackle. Darnell Wright was back at right tackle. That was a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had upgrades on that offense. It's not the worst group that they've had before, which was part of the problem. But they've had this kind of group before that's looked a lot worse. And the Packers theoretically should have a pretty good pass rush, and it just wasn't a factor in this game.
I'm seeing 12 snaps under pressure. What do you?
At 11.
I thought you said 5.
No, 5 dropbacks, 11 snaps. Is it 5?
Well, dropback is a snap.
5 attempts. Is that what I had?
Oh yeah. That's fine. Yeah, but 12 total dropbacks. Yeah, that's more. That's in line. That's certainly better
5
than
attempts.
Yes, from a Packers perspective, that's worse than other teams have rushed the passer against the Bears, and they definitely pass protected better.
I mean, it's barely over a quarter of his dropbacks,
Yeah.
as opposed to like 50%, which
They
is
did
what he's been under previously.
Bears did a much better job up front. Packers, it's Brenton Cox is coming in, rotating. Lucas Van Ness, they're trying to figure out. Rashawn Gary, actually, he did play pretty well. They're trying to Kingsley and Enagbari. It's kind of this revolving door of other edge rushers over there opposite Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, but this was a game where I think that they should have been able to have a bigger impact than they were, and the fact that they weren't was part of why Caleb Williams was able to have this vastly improved game.
From a Packers perspective, Christian Watson with some massive plays in this game. I thought Jordan Love played okay. Red zone interception was poor. He finishes 13 of 17 for 261. Watson had 150 of those yards, including the 60-yarder, a little controversy about whether or not it was a catch, but that ended up being a huge play for them.
And that's 15.3 yards per attempt for Love. That's a pretty crazy number.
I saw the other Nathan Yankee massive crazy stat about Jaden Reed and all his production coming in losses. He only had 2 catches for 23. But this is the story of the Packers, right? They spread the wealth. This was the Christian Watson game.
Yeah. He made a big impact in this game. They have a diverse group of receivers. It makes them difficult to completely zero in on because you don't know who's going to have the big production there, and they're willing to throw it to any of them. It's not like they want to specifically force feed, their number one guy. They're perfectly prepared to share the ball around. And if it's a Jaden Reed game, cool. If it's a Christian Watson game, Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft, they've done it all this season.
There's PFF Nathan's tweet. Jaden Reed averages 130 receiving yards in Packers losses and only 36 receiving yards per game in Packers wins. That's an easy game plan move for Matt LaFleur.
Simply let him have the ball.
Look, this week, if you get in the 30s, we're going to win.
Well, from his point of view, it's for Matt LaFleur, obviously, just don't feed Jaden Reed at all. And for opposing defenses, just funnel everything towards Jaden Reed. Let them target him all day.
One of the calls that I know Packers fans were debating, they were up 19. Am I getting this right? It was 19. They were down 19-14. Early fourth quarter, they go for it on 4th and goal from their 6. So they're down 5. And instead of kicking a field goal to be down 2, they go for it from the 6. This isn't 4th and goal from the 2 or the 3. We see that more often. This is 4th and goal from the 6. Jordan Love gets stopped at, I think, the 1 or the 2 yard line on a scramble. And they end up, if they had lost by 3, that probably comes back to have some debate, though. Again, part of the 4th down decision is having a team backed up, the field position, the idea of getting the ball back was just an interesting one that didn't work out. Didn't work out for the Packers in that sense, but obviously they end up winning the game. They had the game-winning drive to go up 20-19. They missed a 2-point conversion the same way the Bears missed a 2-point conversion. Kind of ugly back and forth when it comes to the 2-point plays in this one. But again, Bears had the opportunity, and the Packers' special teams saves the day with the field goal block.
Carl Brooks just got fingers to it.
Your guy.
Blocked the kick. It's just such an amazing spate of block kicks this year. And we said this last night, it's not like you're seeing these wild, creative, kick block formations or moves or, orchestrated sort of bits or interplay between defenders. This is just a standard, push in the middle, pile, big guys get the hands up, and one of them gets a mid on it and blocks it. I can't remember a season where there have been so many blocked kicks for no particularly good reason.
Packers are playing it's one of those game of the week setups for next week. They're hosting the Niners. Only 3 games in the 4 o'clock window. That's the big one. Niners, Packers, 7-3 Packers, and the 5-5 49ers.
The other call, by the way, to debate about in this game was the sequence just before the kick. I mean, Chicago essentially elected to sit on it and take the shot where they were, which was a 46-yard kick. It's 1st and 10 at Green Bay's 30. They get a 2-yard run, and then they just let the clock go down, call the timeout to kick the game winner essentially from 46 yards at that point. You don't want to try and get 8 yards closer. You don't want to, no more yards. We're good at 46. I mean, it's 46 is a very makeable kick, particularly in today's NFL where those are, 50-yarders are routine. But you had time on the clock. You don't want to try and get a little bit more out of it?
It's a weird dynamic, man, because kickers these days are more likely to hit a 50-yarder than ever. But then you have there was a 10-second stretch. If you were watching Red Zone yesterday, just watching all the games, 10-second stretch where two NFL kickers missed a 27 and a 26-yarder. And it feels like guys are getting the yips out of nowhere, right? So this balance of, can you kick a 46-yarder? Yeah. Like, what's the difference between 46 and a 40-yarder and a 38-yarder? Not massive, but
I wonder what the graph looks like now.
Probably have to try to get a little bit closer.
I do wonder what the graph looks like now in terms of likelihood to make a kick versus, yards out. There's obviously a point distance-wise where it starts to become significantly less likely that you make the kick. There might not be a difference anymore between like 46, 40, 50. It might all be basically the same. Like at that point, you're probably not missing. You're certainly like this. You have that in your leg regardless, right? Like that distance is not a thing there. It's just direction. And you're weighing that versus the chances that you fumble effectively. Like how likely are we to screw up a play by just trying to gain 3 yards versus does that actually make a difference in this kick if it's 46 or 40? It might not.
And you're also playing in this, if he fumbles, if we decide to pass and we get sacked, you start to play those games as well.
I mean, if the kicker's going to shank it, he's going to miss from whatever yardage, right? And 46 is not sufficiently far out that he has to.
There's probably a point where you don't want to settle for 53 plus. But the difference between 46 and 40 might be negligible.
Yeah, like there's a distance where a kicker needs to think about, I got to make sure I hit this well because if I don't, it's going to come up short. At 46, he's just in his routine, right? And the difference between that and 40 might be negligible. So it might be one of those things. I don't know if they've run the numbers. This might just be a bad call. Like it might just be a give-up call that they shouldn't have made. It is plausible, though, that they have run this data-wise and have determined that there actually isn't really a difference between 46 and 40, and you're as well not risking the fumble on running a play.
If we could get someone to help us with that research, it'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll report back on Wednesday.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.